Hey guys, so welcome to the Pace Racing YouTube channel. So we're going to talk about two things in this episode. The first one is going to be, of course, the Halcyon Smart Trainer offered by STAC Performance. And to couple with this, we're also going to talk about the virtual wind tunnel, which is also offered by STAC Performance. And we're going to talk about how these two components can make such a big difference in your cycling and your overall capabilities come race day. So we'll talk about that all and more. And we also have a couple special guests here, Cody Beals and Jackson Laundry, that'll help us talk about virtual wind tunnel and how it benefits them. All right, so before we talk about the Halcyon Smart Trainer offered by STAC Performance, I want to touch base on the virtual wind tunnel that's offered by STAC. Now, what they do, I have a nice detailed report here of something that I just went through with them and has a ton of numbers, which I'll explain in this video of what it's all about and how that'll help you in terms of aerodynamics on your bike. Now, we also had Cody Beals and Jackson Laundry help us out huge in this video, and they were more than happy to, give some insight on how their experience was when they visited the virtual wind tunnel. So we'll talk about all that and more here coming up. Okay, so what is the virtual wind tunnel? Now, the virtual wind tunnel is essentially like visiting an actual wind tunnel, but yet it's so much cheaper and you actually save so much money and hassle in doing so. Now, as far as accuracy goes, it's very accurate, being within about 2% of actual wind tunnel results. Now, it's all done using an iPad and a 3D scanner tool and takes very little time to do. So essentially, you meet up with your representative at one of their many locations, either across Europe and North America, and they take 3D scans you on your bike in your ideal race position. And then they take this data that they captured, they send it over to the STAC Performance office, and they analyze those results and send it back to you in a nice detailed report that includes your CDA results, which is your coefficient of drag results, which we'll get in that a little bit more into the video. And they also tell you how much time it will save you on the bike and give you any recommendations to further improve your aerodynamics. Now, that's pretty cool, right? Now, as far as my experience goes, let's take a look at my reports. So to start off with my reports, this table is the configurations in which I was tested on. So as you can see, there are 5 different poses, and the chart sort of depicts what equipment and changes I used in each of those poses. So, here's an example. My helmet, my bike, clothing, hydration, and race distance stayed the same across the board, but the key differences I want you to know are when I switched from the basic wheels to the 60mm depth wheels, as well as at the bottom where I'm baseline, which is my position before we made any adjustments, and then compare it to those poses in C, D, and E, where we made those adjustments to stem length and handlebar height and such. So now we can take this chart and we can apply these and take a look at the scans that they sent in the report. So this just shows the 3D scans of the side view of myself in each of those 5 poses. And now take a look at each of these positions and keep in mind as to which one you think would be the most aerodynamic position. Now this here shows the centerline velocity in each pose. And now what this essentially means, it's showing how much air flows over my back and sort of how long it stays together before it all separates and becomes turbulent. Now the longer it takes to separate behind me will mean the less drag I actually have as I'm riding. Now this is due to having, sort of picture it like a smaller wake and less air being pulled along with me. Now this looks similar to the centerline velocity, but this actually shows the total pressure, which is a measurement that they use to see how much energy loss occurred in the air that has actually flown over myself. Now, the smaller the change in energy loss means the less turbulent the air was, which overall means less drag. So as you can note in the pictures here, the wake areas that are nowhere near me virtually have no changes in energy, but the air directly to pass behind me or on top of me does. Now this is showing flow separation. Now all that red area you see is where the flow separation is actually occurring, which essentially means that that's all the turbulence created by myself in that position. Now as you can see, the arms, legs, and backside are the largest contributors to this flow separation. Now the more that we can minimize that red zone basically means the more faster we'll be due to less drag. Now, for those who like to see real data that shows how it actually will carry over to the race, then you'll love this chart, because here is how each pose did in terms of CDA numbers, which again is the coefficient of drag, which is the value we use to determine how aerodynamic you are on the bike. Now, essentially, the lower the number, the better. So as you can see, pose C was my most aerodynamic position. And just for a point of reference, now Jackson Laundry, a pro triathlete from Canada, his aerodynamic tested by STAC Performance was 0.190. So as you can see, as an age grouper, 0.242 is pretty darn good, but when you compare it to pros out there who actually do this for a living, they can make big improvements on their aerodynamic positioning as they tune in more and more. Now, this chart shows how my results are in each pose and how it would fare going at a certain power output. Now, as you can see, there are marginal gains here just by doing a bit of tweaking on my bike positioning. Now, I'll be an extra kilometer an hour faster than my original position if I maintained a 200-watt speed. Now, this is amazing when you think of how much training you need to do just to sort of be 1 kilometer per hour faster, and consider that over a full Ironman distance, it would definitely be worthwhile to do this. So there you guys have it. There's the results for my scan, and I couldn't be happier with the results overall. It was definitely worthwhile for me. Now, of course, I'm looking at it from an age grouper's perspective like a lot of you, but if you want to hear from a couple of professional triathlete perspectives, we have Cody Beals and Jackson Landry here to help us out today. So let's tune in and let's hear what they have to say about their scans.
Hey guys, Cody Beals here, and Bean. I've worked with STAC pretty much from the get-go. Do a lot of indoor training for many reasons: safety, precision, time efficiency, and the STAC Zero has integrated really seamlessly into my routine. Apart from that, my favorite technology from STAC is actually the virtual wind tunnel. I've done more than half a dozen tests over the past few years to dial in my position, and all of these gains, both marginal and major, have added up to really significant time savings over 70.3 in Ironman. I'm a big believer in this technology. I used to have to go to the wind tunnel and it was expensive and inconvenient, so this virtual wind tunnel technology is really bringing testing to the masses, which I love.
I've been to the virtual wind tunnel now, and I've got the results back from Andrew. It's been awesome. He's simulated 4 positions for me after he did my initial scan, put a couple different helmets on me, and the difference between my slowest and my fastest positions was close to 2.5 minutes, but compared to what I had before, it looks like I'm going to be able to save probably about 1.5 minutes. So for me, that's huge, and most people would actually save even more than that, so I'd really recommend investing a little bit of time, and it's not very expensive to do that, and it's going to make a big difference in your next race for sure.
All right, guys, so there you have it. That's the virtual wind tunnel, and thanks again, Cody Beals and Jackson Landry, for helping out with that. Now, if you guys want to take a look and see if this is near you, then you can check out the locations all across North America and Europe by going to the STAC Performance website, which the link is in the description below, so definitely take a look at that. Now, I think it's time that we can sort of talk about the Halcyon Smart Trainer offered by STAC Performance. Now, virtual wind tunnel, of course, helped us in terms of aerodynamics, making us a faster and smarter cyclist out there, but it doesn't help us push power at the end of the day, right? So that comes from us putting in the work on the trainers. So that's why this is such a big product in my eyes that is super beneficial to you guys. So let's dive into the specs, and more importantly, how it compares to other smart trainers and how it operates with Zwift. So let's dive into that now. Okay, so let's start with the specs of the Halcyon Smart Trainer. Now, the Smart Trainer is not short of power, seeing as it can handle up to 2,000 watts at 50 miles per hour. It offers a max slope of 7%, and I'll explain this a little bit more when we talk about Zwift compatibility, but it's light and portable compared to all other smart trainers, weighing in at 22 pounds, and the legs fold up in, so it makes it nice and easy for storage or transportation. Now, it's very accurate when compared to other power meters, and when compared against several power meter brands, it was within 3% accuracy, which is fantastic. So, essentially it works as a power meter and can measure speed, but it doesn't track your cadence. So if you want to track your cadence, then you'll need to go buy a cheap cadence sensor online. It is, however, Ant Plus and Bluetooth compatible, meaning it will connect you to Zwift and all the other training programs through your laptop or iPhone or iPad. Now, one important tip is that you have to have a rear aluminum or alloy rim for this to work, seeing as it works off magnets. So be sure of this, and take a strong magnet and run it along your rear rim, and make sure it doesn't stick. If it sticks anywhere, that means you'll need a new rim on the rear. But of course, that doesn't mean it's a make or break if you have a rim that will stick to a magnet. It just essentially means go buy the cheapest rim on Amazon for next to nothing. Like, there's probably some on there for $40 or less, and use it as a training rim. And note that there's no contact with the tire, so you don't even need a rear tire on that rim. Now, lastly, it is a silent trainer, meaning it makes no sound as you may hear in your typical flywheel trainer. Now, the only noise you'll hear is the magnets moving in and out, but it's super quiet. Now, it's battery operated, and so it'll last about 10 to 20 hours on a full charge, but you can also leave it plugged in with a USB cable and you'll never have to worry about it. Now, probably one of the most coolest engineering concepts of this trainer is that they have added wheel weights that you apply to your rear wheel, which will help you have that inertia feel that you would if you're riding outdoors on the road and if you were to stop pedaling. So one of the biggest differences that separates this trainer from most other trainers is how you feel when you use programs like Zwift. Now, as we know, there are two modes in Zwift, both ERG mode and SIM mode. Now, ERG mode is the mode you're using when you're performing a customized workout on Zwift, and SIM mode is when you're simply doing a ride or a race on Zwift. Now, let's dive into how this indoor trainer reacts in each of those modes. Alright, so starting off with ERG mode. Now, this Halcyon Smart Trainer works very cool in this mode. So when you click on a workout, then it will pretty much pre-populate or predetermine the wattage you'll need to do. And as you can see in this video, it doesn't matter how much your cadence changes, or you don't actually need to switch gears at all. Now, the magnets keep the predetermined wattage, so it's your sole job just to keep pedaling, whether it's at 100 cadence or 70 cadence. And of course, no gearing required, so you don't even have to think about that. Now, in ERG mode, you don't notice the gradient changes, meaning if you start climbing a steep hill, it doesn't make a difference and there will be no resistance changes. Now, in SIM mode is where it's very interesting. So in SIM mode, it's exactly like riding outdoors. So as your gradient changes, as you move up a hill or go down a hill, you have to react accordingly and switch gears to maintain that speed and the wattage. Now, this is great because this is what will make you a smart and stronger rider when you go outdoors again. And I mean, of course, lastly, I just wanted to point out a nice perk about this, which is that it has an instantaneous change in wattage, so you can push hard and notice great results. Now, I was able to break new PRs on Zwift simply because the wattage shown on the screen changes instantaneous thanks to the magnets. So that's it, guys, and that wraps that up. Well, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that video, and if you guys want any more information on the STAC Halcyon Smart Trainer or the virtual wind tunnel, then you can find all that in the link in the description below. So other than that, guys, thanks again. Just please leave comments, likes, subscribes. Let us know how you thought, and let us know if you hit up the virtual wind tunnel, because we want to hear how it helped you and how it made a difference. Other than that, guys, take care and we'll see you next time.